And you can do this by recording the chords into your iPhone or other device, maybe an Android phone you might have. I hear those exist. Hello, my name's Darryl Powis and welcome to this week's fretboard lesson. Today we're going to look at a step-by-step approach to what I think is the easiest way to improvising by ear on the guitar. We're going to talk about what that means, what the different pieces that you actually need to learn are, and how you can start practicing all the components right away. So, playing by ear, this is one of the most coveted things, and when I've taught students in person, it's the thing that comes up again and again and again. Whether it's a beginner who says, I just want to hear a song on the radio and play along, or someone who's already plays a little bit and wants to be able to solo by ear. And we're focusing on that soloing by ear portion today. But the two are very much linked. So I'm going to do another video on joining in or playing songs and the chords of songs by ear. Now, there are two main ways that people play by ear, or they work out what notes are by ear. One is with a thing called perfect pitch. So some people, the rare unicorn-like beasts, can hear a note and know exactly what that note is. So some people can hear a car go past and tell you what note the engine was running at. I'm not one of those people. They are rare beasts, and even rarer is one who can tell a note and then has lots of musical capabilities that go with it. If you've got it, fantastic. If you haven't, then I haven't really seen anyone develop that skill over time. However, if you're like me or most of the other musicians that I've ever met, you don't need perfect pitch to be able to play well on the instrument. And in fact, even just being able to tell what a note is on its own is not that useful. It's all the other skills and knowledge that you lean on as well that become very helpful. So that's what we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about how you can do this if you don't have perfect pitch like me, and what the step-by-step skills you can practice are to start developing the ability to play along with songs. So the first piece of the puzzle is your listening skills. Being able to hear what notes fit in with chords when you're playing along to something, because we're talking about soloing here. So this skill is one of the most underdeveloped that I find in students of the guitar, but when people are self-taught soloing, I tend to find they're stronger with this, but less strong with fundamentals of fretboard knowledge. So it's a bit of a balance up. When people come to me and they've been self-taught, we go deep dive into fretboard knowledge, and if you come to me and you're really good with that fretboard knowledge, we need to deep dive into the ear training a little bit more on that side. Now, how do you work on your ear training? How do you work on seeing what chords fit over what? Well, the simple thing that you can do is put songs on, common pop songs, and try and shut your eyes and play along. But that's quite hard because you have to be at a speed where your ear is able to track whether this note sounds nice over the chord. So that's kind of the exercise we lead up to. The way that you work on it now, or the very lowest level, is exactly what we're going to do now. So I'll show you how this exercise works. We're going to take two chords. We're going to make sure those chords play for a long time. And you can do this by recording the chords into your iPhone or other device, maybe an Android phone you might have. I hear those exist. And you're going to record the chords in for a long time, and then we're going to play along to those chords, not thinking about what note we're on the fretboard at all. So it's like a rejection of notes on the fretboard. I'm going to show you an example now. Let's record the chords in. The two chords I'm going to use today are G and C. right, so one important thing about popping these chords in is that it doesn't matter how many bars you play of each chord. I'm really looking for like long periods of time. So you might play like 20 seconds of each chord or so that you've got time for your ear to really play on the guitar and hear how those notes sound and explore as we go. So now the exercise itself, I'm going to play that track back and then I'm going to play the guitar and I'm going to find somewhere on the guitar. And so I'll show you now. If I find this note, I'm going to try and move my ear and go, does that sound nice? So over the G chord, say I play a G chord. I'm going to try and look for the nearest note that I can find that I think sounds actually nice in the chord. Okay, cool. So I like that. It sounds a bit clashy. That really fits in with the G. I've done this exercise a lot. So what happens is when you first start, you'll find that you might have to go fret by fret listening to really see what sounds good and what doesn't sound good. The more you get used to it, your ear will begin to go, oh, okay, I know, or I think there's going to be a 2 fret jump here. And that's what's happening for me as I'm doing the exercise. As I'm on the guitar, I can feel that it's going to be that jump because I've done this so much with so many songs, just feeling my way around the guitar without thinking about scales or the key or any notes or anything like that. Literally just like, oh, where's the note there? I think the best way to describe this exercise is musical fumbling, and you want to musically fumble regularly. So the more you do this, just little bits, your ear will get better and better and better. Wonderful exercise. So this exercise on its own, is that enough to be able to solo all over a song and know exactly where you are on the guitar? No, but it is important for the first step of being able to work out what key you're in for a song. If you're just joining in with a band or you're joining with something on the radio, you first need to use your ear to work out where on the guitar the notes are that sound good are. So I'm gonna fumble around and work out, okay, where am I in with these when I don't know what chords I'm listening to? Now, what's the next piece of knowledge we need? So the next piece is your scales knowledge. So once you know your scales really well, all you have to have done with your ear is be able to map out a certain amount of the guitar. So if I can work out those 6 notes fit by ear, and I've worked that out by listening with my ear, there's a really strong chance that just by having 6 notes worked out, I can tell what scale we're in. And scales only have 7 notes, so I've only got 1 more note to go. So once I've worked out those 6... okay. Well, if I think all those notes kind of fit, now I'm going to lean on my theory knowledge and my fretboard knowledge to go, well, looks like I'm playing in G major. Pretty cool. And then that's where I can now go across the whole fretboard. So by ear is okay to play some melodies, and we can do some slower stuff often. But if you want to expand across the whole fretboard, now you're leaning on your theory knowledge. And that brings us to step number 3. It's not enough to know where those scales are and be able to intellectually work it out. Step number 3 is really the third thing you practice, is the muscle memory of knowing those scales. So if I'm playing by ear, I want to have played up and down those scales in so many different ways, not just making them sound like boring scales hopefully with some sequences and interesting ways of playing them, that once I know intellectually what it is, my hands can take over and there's some muscle memory involved in the playing. So as I play through that, I'm not thinking about the scale shape. My hands are taking over and there's some muscle memory and I can kind of relax and respond to the music. And that's why we have to practice scales quite a lot, is because you want to get really good at using them in response to music. If you haven't seen my video on 3 ways to make scales sound less like scales, I would start practicing that way when you do your scales more, because it's going to help you with your guitar playing, especially when it comes to that later improvising. Otherwise, you'll think, theory, where are my scales? And then start playing scales, probably. So that's my step-by-step approach for how you can improvise by ear to a song you've never heard before, or along with a group of musicians that you've never played with before and you don't know what they're playing. I would recommend doing them all in your practice sessions, just a little bit each time. So you don't have to wait until you've mastered number 1 to do number 2, and you don't have to wait until you know your scales everywhere to start playing them musically. Big mistake if you do. The more you work on all 3, the easier playing by ear is going to get. So have fun with it. I will see you next week. I'm going to put some videos here and here so that you can check out some of the other things that I have been showing on this channel. Thanks very much, and I'll see you next time.